NC State held off East Carolina thanks to we'll use air quotes here, goal line stand, which is like the 7-yard line. It's not quite the goal line, but I get it. They needed some late defensive work, and they got it. Cory Smith, Pack Pride, he will join us to discuss what we saw last night. Look, Cory, I know a lot of the fans were hoping for something more emphatic on the scoreboard, but my read was that NC State was significantly better than East Carolina. It just kind of, the scoreline didn't necessarily reflect it. And there were problems. What's your read on what we saw last night?
Yeah, it's a weird outcome because it's one of those games. I agree with you completely. I mean, it never felt like this game was out of control for NC State. You had it within your reach the entire time, and there were several moments where you have a chance to step on their throat, and NC State just did. And I don't know if it was all on Doeren. Some of the questionable play calling late, or if you want to say it's on Kurt Roper, but this is kind of a Dave Doeren special type of thing that typically happens late in games. But there were also moments like, and I broke it down this morning. CJ Bailey, we like to say how great he is, and obviously he had some big moments last night, but you look at the late, first half interception. That's a moment where you have a chance to kick a field goal or get a touchdown and put yourself in, easier control going into the half. And, the second half, in the beginning of the fourth quarter, they're driving down the field and he takes a sack. They try to kick a field goal, don't make a field goal, do the exact same thing. The very next drive, they get conservative, try to kick a field goal. It's just, there were so many moments where they had to pull away. And I think that may be, a comfort level for you to come away and going, all right, they could have won this game in a bigger fashion, but they just didn't quite do that. Now you work on those things and you become a better team, within the next 8 days before you face UVA.
Yeah, Cory Smith from Pack Pride is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at @Cory Smith on Twitter. And one of the things I wrote down was, over the last several years, and frankly, it's probably more than that, when they have had opportunities to go for the throat, they have been just conservative in their play call. All right, we're in good spot here for a field goal, and I forget who made the big catch down the middle. I think it was it might have been Noah Rogers. Who knows? It might have been Wesley Grimes. I think it was Noah Rogers.
Yeah.
They got down to
It was Wesley Grimes that made the 50. Wesley Grimes made 2 45-yarders.
Okay.
Or 45-plus yarders, yeah.
In the middle of the field, and at that point you go, oh, man, they're going to punch this one in. And they went backwards, right? And then they ultimately missed the field goal. And those types of things, I just felt like, man, go for it. I thought the passing game, apart from the interception, I thought CJ was really good. I thought their running game was also most effective when he was the runner, other than the first drive. So I thought, relying on your quarterback there to do some things might have been better. But look, we've been living this life with Dave Doeren for a long time. They get a little conservative at times. But again, I still felt like, if you didn't have a scoreboard, you would have thought that NC State won that game by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and, a big part of that, too, is, again, like I said, there's the big-time plays, the big-time throws that you need to make to progress this offense and get them that much better. They were able to do. And we talked about a little bit on our post-game podcast last night that I did with Michael Clark. We discussed the fact that this team may need to kind of work backwards a little bit. The fact that they're better at pass blocking right now. They're better. They have enough capable receivers right now. The run blocking was horrid last night. I think on an average, the team finished, the entire team finished with like a 57.6 in run blocking, according to PFF. Now, those are just the initial numbers. It could get worse, but
right.
So the run blocking was not there. You have a weapon in Hollywood Smothers, and he's one of the best pass catchers on your entire team across the middle of the field. So there's so many things that work in your favor that you can pass the ball. You can design passes to be able to move the ball down the field. I think this team needs to pass first and then set up the run after that. And that I think is a backwards logic for Dave Doeren and something that it's going to take time for him to work with. But if I'm Kurt Roper, I'm going to him saying, look, here's all the film that says that we're a much better passing team. I know late game scenarios you want to run the football, but we can do this. These are essentially, 5-yard handoffs down the field with C.J. Bailey. He completes 70% of his passes. Let's go with something that makes him better, makes his team better, and continues to move the ball that way.
Let me talk about two quick well, we already talked about Wesley Grimes, who I thought was excellent. I liked Rodgers, too. We know how good Smothers can be, but Teddy Hoffman, true freshman. I mean, this guy, he had one drive, basically, it was all him. He was incredible last night.
Yeah, I mean, he's a kid we've heard a lot about this offseason. Actually, one of the latest, I believe the latest addition for NC State in the 2025 class. They went out, they found him. They lose not only KC Concepcion, but Arion Concepcion in that class. They needed to find another slot receiver, and they ended up finding a guy that is utilized as a slot receiver and as a outside receiver. He showed it all last night and why they have so much trust in him. 4 catches for 43 yards on one drive, and then that late 50-yard pass to the boundary to be able to set up what could have been, another scoring drive. Ultimately, you don't get anything out of it, but you don't flip the field if it's not for Teddy Hoffman. You don't put your defense at a decent scenario if it's not for Teddy Hoffman. So, again, he has a chance to develop into a major weapon, and I think one of the biggest positives with him and Wesley Grimes both progressing last night is the fact that you already know the relationship that C.J. Bailey has with Justin Jolie. You know what he has with C.J. Bailey. I mean, with Noah Rodgers.
Right.
Now that you're seeing more weapons being added to this, coaches have to put on film and go, okay, well, this guy can also go off for 100 yards. This guy can go off for 100 yards. And they've got, the two biggest possession receivers they have didn't even have a great game in this one. This could be a team that goes for 400 yards between just 3 or 4 guys.
I mean, if I'm Dave Doran, I realize it might take, I don't know, a change to my morning coffee, but lean into your pass game because the pass game does seem, it was obvious watching the game last night, the pass game's ahead of the run game. Let me get to the defensive side of the ball with Cory Smith because without Brandon Cleveland in the first half, I thought State's defense was great. Really, to me, there was the one, we caught them with their pants down moment on 3rd and long, which ended up being a long touchdown. And Dave Doran at halftime interview wore that. It's like, that's on us. We got caught, could have tackled better, yes. But ultimately the play, they kind of botched that. But I thought their defense was really good. And there were some, I thought, the normal players who jumped out, Fordham, Brown, but there were some other guys too that showed out.
Yeah, I mean, 2 transfers that came in, both ironically enough from the Mountain West. Kean Sloan comes over from Utah State, and then Sebastian Harsh, a guy that came from Wyoming. 2 guys in their final year come over to NC State in the spring transfer portal window. Like, they had not put on an NC State uniform until a month ago when they entered fall camp, and both of them were just studs last night for NC State. Kean Sloan was all over the field as an edge rusher / linebacker, and then Sebastian Harsh, a guy that we had heard a lot about this offseason, but again, haven't seen him on the field taking snaps. And it just, last night he really stood out to getting after the quarterback, and that was something that was so desperately missing from last year. Davin Van was really good at getting after the quarterback, but didn't finish enough of them.
Right.
And it just really felt like last night they finished everything behind the line of scrimmage, 9 tackles for loss for the team as a whole. And again, that comes with ECU passing a lot late in the game, and you're still able to come away with that many tackles for loss.
Yeah, I thought their defense was good. I thought their run defense was outstanding. Really, if you're thinking about it, if you're into run defense, that was a good game for you to watch if you didn't care about the outcome, because I thought both defenses really stuffed the run. And again, other than State's first drive, there really wasn't much there. All right, what happens at place kicker, Cory?
Well, can I add something really quickly on the last point you made? That's especially important given the fact that you gave up over 200 yards rushing to one player last time out, and now you respond with holding them to negative yardage with 3 players, mind you, at the running back position that were named to the Doak Walker list for ECU before the season. So their thought process is they have good running backs, and NC State was still able to stop it. At place kicker, I couldn't tell you, man. Really, Dave Doran, I think, was trying to make a statement, and obviously this is comes down to special teams coach Todd Goebel as well. They make this decision together. And Nick Konachinski is how you say his name. I don't know if we're going to have to know it very long after what happened last night, unfortunately for him. They put him in over Kanoa Vincent, who was the starting kicker last year. Now, granted, Kanoa Vincent last year, 4 of 8 on kicks over 40 yards.
Right.
But, a couple of those were past 50. He made a 50-yarder last year, but he was consistent under 40 yards. I mean, he was a guy that, went out there, made 75% of his kicks on the year as a sophomore, and somebody that, it seemed like probably the guy to hold down the position. Now what do you do? Because now you've put somebody in over him. He went 1 of 3 last night with 1 make from under 30 yards. I don't know exactly what you do, because now you've hurt the confidence of the guy who was your starter last year,
right?
By not putting him in. And you and I both know the kicker position is a very mental one, more so than anything. And this is a really tough position that you put yourself in now. I'm interested to see what they do moving forward, because Nick Kaczynski is a guy, or Konachinski is a guy that has the distance but not the accuracy, and you got to figure things out.
Yeah, we'll just call him Nick. I thought the second miss was caused by the first miss, which was just not hit very well at all. I thought he got a lot of the second one. He was just well wide to the right from the left hash. So he really pushed the blocked that one out. Looked like one of my drives when there's water down the right, down the left. Just a
little bit, right?
Yeah, it's no good. But I don't know if Dave Doran's going to pull the plug on it just yet. He might give it another week. But yes, maybe Vincent will be back in the crosshairs before too long. Cory Smith, Pack Pride, I appreciate your time, sir. I thought it was a good start. I know there are some fans that wanted a more emphatic win, but I thought it was a good start. It was a fun game, and if nothing else, State's good TV, right?
Yes, it's a Dave Doran kind of start. It's one of those games where you can come away and say, all right, how are we going to get better between week 1 and week 2? And there's plenty on tape to come away with, and you get a win in the process over ECU after what happened last year. I think it's perfect scenario for him, other than the fact that there may be a little bit of health issues, but we'll see over the next week and a half.
Yeah, has Brown.
Yeah, no, Brown seemed like he was fine afterwards.
Okay.
Obviously, there's also a question with Noah Rogers after hitting his head pretty hard on the ground late in the game, but we'll see how those guys are. Luckily, you get 8 days in between this game, so we'll see if they're able to go out there next time around on Saturday.
Cory Smith, my friend, I appreciate your time, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
You got it. From Pack Pride, at R. Cory Smith on Twitter.